But getting granite to the mainland is far from simple.
But the harvesting process is a logistical work of art. I think there is nothing on the island, as you say, it's uninhabited. There's no water supply other than some running water from the rivers and streams on the island. There's no electricity supply, so we have to take absolutely everything with us.
Kays uses two types of granite from the island to produce curling stones. First, there's blue home granite, which makes up the layer that runs along the ice. Then common green is used for the part that strikes other stones.
This is Ailsa Craig common green granite, so this makes up the full body of the stone. You can also see the slightly lighter grayer coloured granite inside, and this is Ailsa Craig blue horn.
The rock is densely constructed, thanks to how well its fine-grained crystals and the feldspar interlock. This makes the stone resilient. While other rocks might crack or splinter, Ailsa Craig granite stays intact amid cool temperatures and collisions. Most other rocks will have imperfections, like veins that cut through the stone. And while it's not free from weaknesses, there aren't many throughout Ailsa Craig rock. Weaknesses make it more likely a stone will fracture upon hard impact, something that would upend a curling game. Before Kays can begin making stones, each rock is cut into slabs. But not all the granite the company harvests is suitable to test the granite and confirm it satisfies Olympic requirements.
The slab thickness we're looking for 145 millimeters, 14.5 centimeters thick. Then that gives us the ideal depth for coring, which then allows us to shape the stone well.
Usually shape it to stones.
We're going to a lot of time and effort to bring this resource from an island over to the mainland that we want to make the most effective use of it. We can get boulders off the island that can be in the region of 5 to 7 tons. They will yield way more than 5 or 6 cheeses per ton. But if we average it out across a whole harvest, then we get within 6 cheeses per ton, we're being pretty well.
They call them cheeses, for no clear reason other than...
I suppose in one respect they maybe look like a baby bell cheese or something like that. I've never really thought about it too deeply, to be honest.
While the process today largely depends on machines, it needs experienced craftspeople to see each stage through.
The cutting process or the coring process is a skill.
Strip away the excess stone around the corners and prepare it for shaping. The International Olympic Committee determines the size, shape, and weight of each stone for the games. Before the stone reaches its final shape, masons fit the blue home granite into the common green body. The stone itself weighs 40 pounds, plus another pound for the handle. After it reaches its final form, it's time to polish. Other producers harvest granite from the Trevor Quarry in Wales. Kays once sourced granite from Trevor too, but Mark says quality control issues turned into...
All of these new ice rinks in Canada are satisfied. The demand fell off dramatically, so we went from 25, 30 people down to about 5 and 10 people.
A major component that's kept the game and Kays alive today, the Winter Olympics.
When curling was put back into the Olympics, it was great. It was a momentous moment in terms of a curling stone manufacturer, because it certainly opened curling up to the world. In 1998, there was only 25 countries in the world that were in.
That's created an uptick in demand for stones, which has carried over into their price.
We have increased our sales, which is really, really good news. Having said that, we've also increased our costs because we have to go back for granite more frequently and we to satisfy
the blue home. Fortunately for the growing interest in the sport, and for the only supplier of Olympic curling stones, supply isn't a problem.
You should change that. Walk on time, John.
That's more than 4 times the price of some professional flutes.
We like to say you're only as good as your last day.
So expensive. For high-end oboe producers like Howarth of London, it takes 5 years to make an oboe from African blackwood. Howarth buys only 2 square meters of African blackwood a year, which costs it $25,000. And obtaining African blackwood, locally called Mpingo, isn't easy. The scarcity of African blackwood looms large in the industry. African blackwood isn't typically farmed. It grows in
najua inapatikana Afrika, kwa hiyo ni utambulisho wetu pia, kwa hiyo ina historia yake, kwa hiyo inabidi tuilinde, kwa hiyo
the woods. But the same properties that allow African blackwood to support the complexity of an oboe are also what make it so difficult to work with. The first step in construction is to shape the wood, which requires metalworking equipment. Artisans start by hollowing out what will become the interior of the instrument. Then, they sculpt the exterior.
Most engineering companies are using those tolerances to work with metal.
Between each round of shaping,
Dry air will be stock, and then at night the compressors are turned on, so we're going from hot, cold, dry to damp. So we're really treating that wood stock as badly as we can, because we want
over for protection, and are then fitted to the oboe body. This step alone can take up to the more expensive it will be.
a clarinet has 17 keys typically, whereas an oboe has almost double that. It's a student
The art of oboe making. Every artisan at Haworth boasts at least 20 years of experience in the craft. Among these artisans is Mike Dadson, one of Haworth's finishers. Mike sands down different sized cords until they're paper thin. This step is essential because a single air leak will render the oboe useless.
My engineering is to be very good at this because I've been fitting them to the thinness of a very thin cigarette paper, and then hopefully at the end we should achieve that.
While making an oboe, some of the keys and metal parts will inevitably be sold for top dollar. Fixing bent keys is a test of patience. Sometimes straight in the oboe is now ready to be sold, but with a 5-year-long production time and increasingly rare.
I can imagine there are less than 20,000 oboes being sold each year. I know that
This is my 5th Howard, and I haven't once had one crack.
For Emily, the time and care Haworth puts into each oboe sings through in the end product, so she doesn't mind the high cost.
There is no question in my mind that they're worth every penny. Playing on something that's so beautifully made, that's such excellent quality, it means the world to my professional career and allows me to just then relax and be the artist.
This is the most important moment in the process of creating South Sea pearl. The moment when Harry inserts the nucleus into an oyster around which a pearl will form. And if he's imprecise, the resulting pearl may come out misshapen. The goal is this: a near perfect round pearl with a large 20mm diameter pearl are grown cultured pearls. These are pearls that require a human to put something inside an oyster instead of harvesting naturally occurring pearls. And South Sea pearls are the most expensive variety of cultured pearls. That's in part because of how long it takes to make a South Sea pearl. While some freshwater oysters can churn out dozens of smaller pearls within 3 months, it takes about 5 years to cultivate a single South Sea pearl. The oyster it comes from, the Pinctada maximum, can only make one at a time. And only a fourth of these oysters survive cultivation. That's why the pearl farmers have to go to great lengths to keep the oysters alive. It starts in this highly controlled laboratory, where lab technicians must create the perfect conditions for oyster larvae to grow into healthy, pearl-producing adults. They have to maintain a room temperature of exactly 20 degrees Celsius and feed the larvae the phytoplankton they need to grow. To do this, they combine salt water from the South Sea and sodium hydroxide and store it for 5 days until there's enough plankton. Lab techs feed the plankton from nets of baby oysters and monitor their growth for about 45 days. That's around the time they reach at least 1 millimetre in diameter and are old enough to be transferred to sea. The oysters are transferred to save on the costs of rearing bigger oysters, which can get expensive.
Ya, kalau pelihara di darat harus kita bikin planktonnya. Kita beli plankton, kita bikin. Itu biayanya agak besar dia.
In the South Sea, the oysters get the warm waters and food they need to mature. But this is also where most of them will die, without producing a single pearl.
Itu yang akan hidup nanti cuma 25.000 dari 10.000. 2.500 maksudnya. Karena 75% itu dia pasti meninggal.
That's why the pearl farmers have to check on the oysters monthly to ensure they're still growing, eating, and healthy. They pull the nets of oysters up from the sea and clean the shells. This helps prevent predators from feeding off the oysters and eventually killing them.
Ya, agar ini kadang kalau kerangnya kotor kan tertutup semua, jadi susah untuk makan. Sini banyak lumut, banyak kotoran, banyak bakteri juga, ada ulat di sini. Biara jelek, jadi tujuannya juga untuk kita bangun.
Ya Allah, sepi.
Itu ada mau tuh.
Bukan itu.
1 menit.
1 menit mainnya butut begini tempatnya. Mana nggak ada manusia ini. Ada 10. Ya Allah, apa sih? Cepet amat orangnya jalan.
Siapa di antara kalian yang masih menyembah Muhammad? Muhammad sudah meninggal. Wa man kana minkum ya'budullaha fa innahu hayyun la yamut. Siapa di antara kalian yang masih menyembah Allah, Allah zat yang akan senantiasa hidup dan tidak akan pernah mati. Kemudian dia membacakan ayat yang kata Abdullah bin Abbas radhiyallahu anhu seolah-olah ayat ini Zaid. Dia buat pasukan sendiri. Dia berperang melawan nabi palsu. Dalam peperangan ini, dalam perang Yamamah ini, banyak qurra'ul Quran, para pakar-pakar Al-Quran, tumbang dan syahid. Akhirnya Umar kekhawatiran terhadap hilangnya Al-Quran. Lihat bagaimana. Ini para guru Al-Quran banyak yang meninggal. Ini kalau dibiarkan, maka Al-Quran akan dilupakan oleh manusia. Maka dia mendesak kepada Abu Bakar untuk membukukan Al-Quran, mengumpulkan lembaran-lembaran Al-Quran yang dicatat oleh para sahabat Rasul, dikumpulkan jadi satu supaya Al-Quran terjaga. Bagaimana hirsnya, perjuangan Umar untuk mengumpulkan Al-Quran, mendesak Abu Bakar karena dia Amirul Mukminin. Akhirnya Abu Bakar pun mau akhirnya mengumpulkan lembaran Al-Quran sampai menjadi mushaf, tapi belum mushaf resmi, karena resminya di zaman Utsman. Lah ketika Abu Bakar meninggal dunia, maka Abu Bakar Siddiq radhiyallahu an berwasiat kepada Umar bin Khattab agar dia menggantikan diri. Jadi kepemimpinan Umar itu wasiat dari Abu Bakar. Jadilah Amirul Mukminin Umar bin Khattab. Satu-satunya gelar Amirul Mukminin adalah Umar bin Khattab. Amirul Mukminin digelar kepada Umar karena Abu Bakar belum digelari Amirul Mukminin. Amirul Mukminin ini hanya digelari kepada Umar bin Khattab. Ya wajah, karena kepemimpinan Umar bin Khattab ini membuka Islam lebar-lebar. Mesir ditaklukkan sampai kepada perang Qadisiyah. Persia jatuh ke tangan kaum muslimin sampai kepada kuncinya Baitul Maqdis diserahkan kepada Umar bin Khattab oleh pembesar keagamaan mereka. Masya Allah, luar biasa. Dan Umar ini ikhwan dikenal dengan ibadah, mudah menangis. Dulu dia orang yang sangat keras, tapi belakangan orang yang sangat lembut, mudah menangis. Tidak lepas daripada puasa dan qiyamul lail, sampai matanya cekung dan ada garis hitam. Karena banyaknya menangis, sampai di matanya ada jalan air mata khusus. Sampai ada jalannya. Begitulah Umar bin Khattab radhiyallahu anhu. Sampai suatu ketika Umar bin Khattab berjalan dengan pembantunya. Di tengah jalan dia berjumpa dengan nenek yang sangat tua, renta. Tiba-tiba wanita ini memanggil Umar dengan tidak sopan. Tidak sebagaimana orang memanggil Amirul Mukminin, tidak. Justru dia mengatakan, "Ihi ya Umair, ihi ya Umair." Bukan Umar tapi Umair. Dalam bahasa Arab, Umair itu dari kata fu'ail, isim tasghir, mengecilkan orang, merendahkan orang. Kalau Umar itu besar, kalau Umar itu Umar kecil. Kalau Salman itu besar, kalau Sulaiman itu Salman kecil gitu. Kalau kitab itu besar, kalau kutub itu kitab tipis. Iya Umair, dulu aku melihat engkau bermain-main di pasar, bukan, katanya. Sekarang kau sudah jadi Amirul Mukminin, ittaqillah ya Umair, katanya. Bertakwalah engkau ya Umair. Subhanallah. Wanita tua nasihati Umar. Marah itu bantu. Kemudian wanita
Apit lah coy.